Very own Congressman from the 6th District, Tom Emmer. He's on the line with us now from Selma. Thanks so much, Congressman Emmer, for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, first, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to give you a hard time because the weather here in Montgomery is about, it's a good 60 degrees. It's like a summer day. So.
Well, we're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there. It's supposed to be close to 60 later this week, so you'll be returning to some nicer weather. First of all, I want to say you're a new congressman. What is it like being part of that body?
It's been a learning experience. It's I don't care how much experience you have. There's nothing like Congress. It doesn't work quite the same way as the state legislature. It's bigger. The procedures are different, so it's been quite a learning experience the first couple of months. But in baseball terms, the ball is starting to slow down a little bit. So.
Well, all right. Well, I'm sure that won't last for too long. But let's talk. Let's talk a little bit about Selma because you were there. I saw some of the pictures. I know you were tweeting, and everybody was really talking about this yesterday. It looked very moving, Congressman Emmer.
Oh well. It's funny. I don't think people, out of sight, out of mind for too many Americans. It is a historic date in our history, in our country's history. And yesterday, it wasn't just the president and the first lady, but former President Bush and his wife were there. Like you say, different types of people from all walks of life showed up yesterday, and today was probably even more moving. Today we attended the service at the First Baptist Church, Reverend Abernathy's church, and then we went to have a kind of a unique celebration at the steps of the state capitol here in Montgomery. I don't know if a lot of people understand. There's a spot where Jefferson Davis was sworn in as the first president of the Confederacy on the front door of the Montgomery, of the state capitol here in Montgomery. But if you look down just a couple of blocks, you will see Martin Luther King's church.
Interesting.
A whole bunch of history. And what we saw this morning, I think you can talk to anyone who was here, but among the people who spoke, including the governor of Alabama, was Governor George Wallace's daughter. I believe it's Peggy Sue Wallace Kennedy, and it was probably one of the most moving things I've heard in terms of her asking or thanking Representative John Lewis, one of the leaders of the Bloody Sunday March, thanking Representative Lewis for his forgiveness. And in essence, I mean, what I heard was she was asking for forgiveness for her father. So
wow. Well, yeah, I'm guessing just so powerful. I mean, the images, the moving as well as the still pictures were so powerful, and I can only imagine what it was like being there, just right there in front of it live.
Well, let me just tell you, I didn't see too many dry eyes when George Wallace's daughter was done speaking this morning.
I bet. Why did you want to be there, Congressman Emmer?
It's history. This is something that's incredibly important to our country, to our state. One of my colleagues, in fact, Representative Keith Ellison, sent an invitation, I assume, to every member of the delegation back in January. And as soon as I saw it, it's one of those things that you just need to be at if you can make it work.
And that's another.
And by the way, I have not been disappointed, and I will look forward to coming back in the future.
Well, and that's the thing. So you went down there, hundreds of lawmakers down there, and then I hear that you get some flack from Tea Party Republicans for even going. What's that all about?
Well, I don't think people understood. They want to have a discussion about some other things, and that's fine. But I got news for you. It's the comment that I heard was he's at some parade in Alabama, and I tell you what, you talk to John Lewis, and he'll tell you this is no parade. That's not what we're here for. And
right.
I think people sometimes need to take a step back, and rather than being so self-focused in their own corner of the world, they need to get a broader picture and an understanding of how they might fit within a bigger world. And, people who don't understand, I guess all I can do is hopefully when I come back and I'm in the district, we can have a conversation about it, and they'll realize it's more than just a parade.
I'm looking at your Twitter feed right now from yesterday, 23 hours ago. Standing near Edmund Pettus Bridge, where the March on Bloody Sunday occurred, President Obama will speak soon. And I see your head there. I think someone else may have taken that shot, but you tweeted it out there. And, you can just see it very vividly there. What were your thoughts about the president's speech?
It wasn't so much the speech as it was the moment. Because there were others that were speaking even before. There was a program before that. You have to, when you have two American presidents, the one that's currently in office and his immediate predecessor, who I think we would all acknowledge there have been some differences.
I think we can agree on that point.
Yeah. And to see them come together and do what they did, and, my understanding is former President Bush was offered an opportunity to speak yesterday, and he declined.
Really?
He said this wasn't about him.
Very interesting.
It is interesting because if you could have seen the Obamas and the Bushes on stage sitting next to each other, you would have thought that they went out to dinner on a regular basis.
Well, yeah, and I'm guessing that's not true. Congressman,
I don't know.
Congressman Tom Emmer is our guest. The phone lines are open if you want to talk with him, or if you have a question about his experience as he is in Selma right now. 651-989-9226, 866-989-9226, or you can text 81807. There are some texts coming in for you, Congressman. One person saying, why were so few Republicans in Selma? Now, I don't know what the numbers are. Maybe you know.
Well, part of it, I think it's twofold. And I don't know that there were that few. I think there were just a few of the freshman members of Congress. But they capped it. I think people need to understand they capped this trip at 100 people. So it wasn't as if everyone in Congress had an opportunity to join the trip. And it just depended if you got an invitation and you were quick enough to understand what it was. I guarantee you there are a whole bunch of members on both sides of the aisle who were very disappointed at the end that they didn't act quick enough to get on the list.
So it was like an official trip versus just going on your own budget or something like that.
No. We went on our own budget. But
okay.
This is it's organized by Representative John Lewis and people around him. So. No, it's you do this with your own funds, but the invitation
has to be more official.
Yeah, well, I don't know about official, but if Representative Ellison hadn't sent out the invitation to all of the members, our office, I wouldn't have known about it until perhaps it was too late.
All right, Bill is calling from Minneapolis. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. I just want to congratulate the congressman. I lean more left. And we probably disagree on some issues and stuff, but what a stand-up guy you are, Tom. I take my hat off to you and doing the thing that was right and standing up for your principles. And I think a lot of people are going to take a look at you from the left, thinking this guy, he's got his act together.
Bill,
I appreciate what you did.
Bill, actually, thank you very much. As my mother says, when someone pays you a compliment, you really should recognize it, and I appreciate it, Bill. It's funny, though. I think, and I was going to tease you. I was going to say, now, Bill, don't get me in trouble.
All right. I don't like you.
Well, thank you for calling, Bill. And, you are shaking things up a little bit from what I understand. We'll get into that with you after the break. But first, I want to go to Jerry, who's calling from Rockford. Hi, Jerry.
Hi. I just have to compliment Congressman Emmer. He's a bright spot in the life of Congress, and Republican or Democrat or Independent, it doesn't make any difference. I appreciate his courage. I appreciate his integrity, and I'm thankful he's in Congress. I've been listening, and I could not be more supportive of what he's doing, and bless his heart and the hearts of those people who were down there in Selma. It's a sad piece of history long ago, and we're on the road to recovery. And thanks to people like Congressman Emmer we're going to get closer. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Jerry. You know what? All I would say to that, other than thank you, is I've always believed if you do the right thing for the right reasons, regardless of people's political views, they'll respect it.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get into that. We're going to take a quick break and then more with Congressman Tom Emmer. The numbers are 651-989-9226 or 866-989-9226. You can also text 81807. When we come back, we will talk with the congressman and we'll get into how far are we from the true road to recovery.
You're listening to News Radio 830 WCCO, streaming worldwide 24/7 at WCCO.com from the Land O'Lakes studio.
Roshini Rajkumar with you, and I am chatting with Congressman Tom Emmer from Minnesota's 6th District. He is in Selma this weekend, this historic Selma 50, the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday, and he's sharing his thoughts. We're taking your calls and texts. Text line 81807, phone 651-989-9226. A text coming in for you, Congressman. Now, our listeners are real. This person says, although I am no fan of Representative Emmer, I give him a great deal of credit for putting partisan issues aside and doing the right thing.
Well, thank you. You don't have to be a fan. The issue is not about whether you like someone or not, or whether you stand with them on every issue. Just so long as you know where they stand. I think I'll just keep being who I am, and I'll make it clear what I think I'm supposed to be doing, and then people can always have a choice.
One of the things I love about what I do as a radio host is I get to talk to all of you, regardless of the party. I don't really share what my politics are. And I get to question everybody and celebrate everybody when they're doing good things. And you just seem like a real straight talker. And I feel that we have lost that in the United States Senate and the House. What are your thoughts about that?
You know, I don't know. I'm new here.
Just from your observations, though, I mean, it's gotten so rancorous.
Well, I've always said, Roshini, the thing that bothered me most, and I've only been doing this for 10 years. I ran for the state house 10 years ago, and what a journey. But I think the one thing that has never left me is I think those of us that are looking for leaders in the world, we're tired of people telling us what they think we want to hear. I mean, I'd much rather know that you disagree with me respectfully, but I'd much rather know that we may not agree on something, because one thing, it helps me learn where you are, so that if there is a way that we can find some agreement, we know where we're starting from. The other thing is, it allows me to make a choice whether I want to join you or not. And I think we got too many people who try to be everything to everyone, and it doesn't work very well. So,
yeah, if you stand up for everything, you're really not standing for anything, right? You did stand up, though, when it came to the Homeland Security bill. Give us kind of your inside scoop, the 411 on that, and where it stands and where it's headed.
Well, number one obligation of our government is to protect its citizens. And my position was, the president, I do believe, overreached with his executive orders on immigration. For whatever reason, through frustration after not getting something going, he took it upon himself. The problem I had was we passed a bill that addressed that executive order. But once it came back, then the idea was there were people that were going to vote against it because the language addressing those executive orders was no longer in it. And now there are folks that suggest that, that's somehow the wrong decision. My position was and always will be, you do not hold the safety of citizens hostage for any political issue, especially when you're talking about this number one thing. And I know there are some people out there who want to disagree with me and suggest that that's a hill to die on, that you should do that. But you're talking about shutting down Homeland Security, and what is Homeland Security? It's the very Border Patrol agents that enforce the immigration laws. It's the TSA, it's the Coast Guard, it's the Secret Service. I mean, you literally, and the response I get from some people is, well, 85% of them are essential employees, so you would have been shutting anything down. But think about this, Roshini. You are an essential employee. Do you think that you will give 100% effort, not that you won't want to, but do you really think that people are going to give you 100% of their effort 100% of the time based on an IOU? Because as an essential employee, those folks that are responsible for our security would have been asked to go to work without pay. And yeah, they would have been paid eventually, but they wouldn't have been paid while they were working.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have been very engaged or caring as much about exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't want to accuse. I don't want to make that statement that would happen, but to assume that it couldn't happen, frankly, is not being responsible with the responsibility that you're supposed to be exercising in this position. And when you come from a state like Minnesota, where we had just had all kinds of bad publicity about potential issues involving one of our major areas of citizen traffic, it would not have been responsible. And I understand people are upset with the president's executive order. I don't agree with it either. Apparently, at least one court doesn't agree. There's a injunction that's in place right now that the administration is honoring. The courts will deal with that in due course, and then we'll see if Congress has the leadership in Congress has a different approach. But that was mine, and I stand by it, and I'll be happy to answer to anybody who wants to question.
Congressman Emmer, so you're going to be leaving Selma and leaving, the emotions, the highs and the lows of just being part of this weekend. What is your top priority when you return to Washington and have to work with both sides of the aisle, as well as some of the parts of your party that don't always agree with you?
I would say first, I'm going to be working in the district in the coming weeks, so I won't be back in the Washington office until later this month. But I think there are many things we have to tackle. There are issues all around the world that are going to be at the forefront in the next 60 days, and I don't think it's going to matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, because it's going to be about the nation's security and, frankly, the global situation. But for me personally, I think the issue is trade. Minnesota still is the home to 19 Fortune 500s, Roshini. The main economic drivers of our private economy are agriculture and manufacturing. Minnesota is going to depend on trade, and I think that's going to be the issue going forward. It's getting people to understand what Trade Promotion Authority is. It's actually Congress exercising its authority over trade by directing the executive branch as to how to negotiate a deal and what can be included and what can't, and those sorts of things. So that'll be, I think, the number one priority for me when I get back, aside from all these things that just might rise to a higher level. We'll have to see.
Well, you heard it here, folks, first, and I always love it when our listeners can get the opportunity to talk with newsmakers firsthand and give you pats on the back as well as give you some challenges. So, Congressman Emmer, you have an open invitation to come back anytime you want and give us some more of the Emmer Straight Talk.
Thank you very much for the time.
Thanks.
Safe really
travels. Safe travels back home, and good luck as you wind things down in Selma.
Thank you.
So when we